vast Transylvanian ballroom lies in near ruin, swallowed by centuries of dust and moonlight. No figures move within it, only the suggestion of presence, as if the room itself is waiting for something to return. Tall arched windows fracture pale lunar light into long broken shafts across cracked marble and collapsed velvet drapery. The atmosphere is not empty, but occupied by memory.
Horrific entrapment in the Carpathian Mountains, Jonathan Harker lived a thoroughly ordinary, unremarkable life. Residing in Exeter in the southwest of England, he was a zealous, ambitious solicitor's clerk working for his employer, Peter Hawkins. The mundane life. His day-to-day existence was defined by the precise study of the law and the meticulous drafting of mundane legal contracts. When the opportunity arose to travel to Transylvania to finalize a major real estate transaction for Count Dracula, Harker eagerly accepted. Victorian optimism. Superiority and industrial progress, Harker viewed the trip as an exciting professional adventure. He was completely blinded to the darker realities of the outside world, expecting Eastern Europe to simply conform to the rational, civilized standards of the British Empire. Count Dracula's dark, martial past, in stark contrast to Harker's bureaucratic life. Count Dracula's history is steeped in bloodshed, military conquest, and territorial defense. The noble warrior, Dracula traces his lineage back to the Sakles and the ancient warlords of the region. He speaks to Harker with fierce pride about his ancestors, framing his family lineage as a race of conquerors. Stoker's vampire is deeply inspired by 15th century. Historically, and in the novel's lore, Dracula's past is defined by martial dominance, fighting against the invading Ottoman Empire to protect his lands. To Dracula, the shedding of blood is not a horrific taboo, but a symbol of power, survival, and a long-standing tradition of martial glory. The Count views his violent past as a testament to his dominance, using it to justify his relentless thirst for conquest as he plots his invasion of modern, unsuspecting Victorian London.
The mountains close like iron teeth. The carriage stops, the gates breathe. No law exists within this height. Welcome to the music of the night. Carriage halts beneath the crag-top gate. I step from iron wheels to seal my fate. My ledger tucked beneath the trembling arm. I seek a deal and mean the count no harm. The Borgo Pass is silent, save the howl of lupine ghosts that mark the nightly prowl. A fortress built of bone and ancient pride, where logic fails and modern shadows hide. The stones are breathing, do you hear the sound? 1,000 eyes are rising from the ground. The mist is thick, the torches flicker low. There is nowhere left for a clerk to go. I am the guest, but I am the prey. The sun has fled to a world away. Oh, children of the night, sing out your call. I hear my echo in the ruin hall. Locked in the labyrinth of ancient sin, the count is waiting. Let the dark begin. The corridors are winding long and deep, where secrets of the Voivode wake from sleep. I reach for handles, only finding rust, and portraits crumbling into gray black dust. A heavy clank, the sound that stops the blood. A deadbolt slides, a rising, freezing flood. The door is sealed, the air is thin and cold. The story ends exactly as foretold. My heartbeat drums against the hollow wall. I'm nothing but a prisoner in the sprawl. The keys are gone, the iron bars are tight. I'm buried in the middle of the night. I am the guest, but I am the prey. The sun has fled to a world away. Oh, children of the night, sing out your call. I hear my echo in the ruined hall. Locked in the labyrinth of ancient sin, the count is waiting. Let the dark begin. No contract, no witness, no solicitor's law, just the shadow of the razor tooth claw. I am bound by the stone, I'm bound by the chain. I'm drifting in the center of a blood-red rain. The pack is circling, their teeth are bared. The traps are set, the soul is dead. I am the guest, but I am the prey. The sun has fled to a world away. Oh, children of the night, sing out your call. I hear my echo in the ruined hall. Locked in the labyrinth of ancient sin, the count is waiting. Let the dark begin.
Remember the iron, the soil, drinks deep of the brave.
My fathers carved a kingdom from the void.
Blood is not death. Blood is the inheritance.
Signed in London ink. You talk of trade while standing on the brink. You see a client in a moldering hall, but history breathes behind this granite wall. My sires were saintly lords of tide and flame. We etched in ottoman flesh a sovereign name. You speak of progress, laws and civil rights. I speak of centuries and endless burning nights. The crescent moon fell red upon the field, where thousands broke my lineage would not yield. A warrior's code is written in the vein, a sacred rite of sacrifice and pain. Do you think a contract binds a king of old? My hunger grows as your weak hearts grow cold. London is sleeping blind to what is near. I come to turn your logic into fear. I am the impaler, the shadow of the east, the noble warlord, the famine and the feast. I claim the world that bows to shallow gold. My blood legacy shall never ever fall. Rise from the ruins, the hunt begins today. The modern world shall kneel and wash the streets in grey. You stare in horror at the life I keep. You do not fathom why the shadows weep. It is not murder, no, it is command. A legacy of conquest across this barren land. The empire crumbles though you cannot see. The future belongs to the darkness and to me. The pulse of nations beats beneath my palm. I am the tempest, I am the ancient calm. I am the impaler, the shadow of the east, the noble warlord, the famine and the feast. I claim the world that bows to shallow gold. My blood legacy shall never ever fall. Rise from the ruins, the hunt begins today. The modern world shall kneel and wash the streets in grey. No law can stop the tide of time. No parliament can halt the sublime. The iron crown rests upon my head. The living must serve the ancient dead. The fog is rising on the Thames tonight. Your flickering lamps will never win this fight. streets in grey.
The blood is the life. It is mine, forever yours.
The stone bleeds, the faith is cold. Elisabeta, why did you go? The cross is broken, the vow is sealed. I am the hunger that will never heal. The crusade was won, the Turks were driven back. I marched in glory, dressed in imperial black. But home was silent, the battlements were bare. A scent of lilies and sorrow in the air. They told me tales of a leap into the deep, of a soul condemned while I was left to weep. The judge, they whispered, she is lost to fire for taking her life in a funeral pyre. I stormed the chapel, the candles died in shame. I cursed the heavens that would dare to frame my love as a sinner, my heart as the bait. I'll unmake the world to defy this fate. My blade strikes the altar, the stone begins to groan. I claim the darkness to sit upon this throne. If God demands her, then God is my enemy. I drink the crimson, eternity for me. I curse the holy cross, I renounce the light. I am the warlord of the eternal night. Across the centuries, I search for her grace, to find my Elisabeta in a brand new face. Blood for the broken, death to the divine, Mina, oh Mina, your soul shall be mine. Now shadows stretch across the London street, where modern footsteps and ancient echoes meet. The clerk is frantic, he clings to his law, but he cannot mend what the century saw. For in her eyes the same light starts to glow, a memory of our gash from long, long ago. I watch her sleeping, the reincarnation near. The price of her love is a world full of fear. The cycle turns, the tragedy repeats. The heart of the empire, the pulse of the streets. I curse the holy cross, I renounce the light. I am the warlord of the eternal night. Across the centuries, I search for her grace, to find my Elisabeta for conquest, just for her name. The clerk is an ant in the path of the storm. I'll break the world just to keep her warm. The seal is broken, the gates are flung wide. There is nowhere left for the living to hide. I curse the holy cross, I renounce the light. I am the warlord of the eternal night. Across the centuries, I search for her grave, to find my Elisabeta in a brand new face. Blood for the broken, death to the divine, Mina, oh Mina, your soul shall be mine. Cold iron skies above the rails, candles drown in whisper trails. Through the frost the wolves begin, calling me to darker winds. Dust and parchment, ink and stone, far from all I've ever known. Toward the mountains draped in black, no road remains to lead me back. London fades in dying rain, gaslight trembling down the lane. Ledger books and legal names, measured lives and modest aims. I was sent beyond the dawn to lands where older worlds live on. A clerk beneath the empire's flame, bound for one forgotten name. Villagers with hollow eyes cross themselves as I pass by. Rosaries and shaking hands, warning spoken, I could not understand. The further east the silence grew, the colder every shadow moved, and every mile through forest stone felt less like earth I'd ever known. Hear the black wind call my name, see the lanterns die in flames. Something waits beyond the path, watching every moment pass. Through the mist the horses scream, moonlight tears apart the dream. Circle after endless circle, night consumes the mortal world. Ride into the Borgo night, through the jaws of pale moonlight. Castle rising cold and grim, where the dead still speak of him. Blood of dragons, blood of kings, hear the cry the mountain sings. Dracula, eternal lord, death reborn by fire and sword. Then the phantom carriage came, silver eyes and breathless flame. No driver seen beneath the hood, only claws where hands once stood. Up the cliffs, through frozen stone, to a fortress carved from bone. Ancient towers crowned in frost, built upon the souls once lost. There he stood in candle fire, tall and pale in dark attire. knows us all. Dracula! In a leather-bound page, a London clerk in a rational age, safe in the order of ledger and law, blind to the ancient terror I saw. Victorian pride and progress and steel, collapsed in the mountains where nightmares are real. Beyond the passes where old legends reign, stood a voivode forged in slaughter and pain. He speaks of the sacredness of battles of flame,
a monarch undying, remembered by name.
My reason is breaking, the logic is gone,
as wall-etching shadows consume the dawn.
The sacred host burns black on her brow, the curse of the undead awaken now. A mark of damnation, a barrier of grace. We hunt the dark tyrant through time and space, bound by the blood forced out from his chest. We ride through the night till the beast is laid to rest. The white mist descended like funeral breath. It wrapped around Jonathan colder than death. The Count bared his chest with a terrible grin and forced holy Mina to drink of his sin. A dark sacrament beneath moon-broken spires, a baptism of blood and unholy desire. You are flesh of my flesh now, the predator swore, bound to me eternally forevermore.
He saw through her spirit to poison our trail,
To shatter the hunters and make courage fail.
but the blood bond cuts in both directions now.
We enter his darkness through vision and vow.
The hypnotic whispers awaken the way.
We follow the sovereign where shadows decay. The sacred host burns black on her brow, the curse of the undead awaken now. A mark of damnation, a barrier of grace. We hunt the dark tyrant through time and space, bound by the blood forced out from his chest. We ride through the night till the beast is laid to rest.
I hear the black waters,
The creak of the mast.
we follow the demon through echoes of past.
His voice lives within me,
A cold silver haze,
yet we follow the signal through death and away. The circle is closing, the borders draw near. The lord of the castle can finally feel fear. The telepath pathway now sharpens our blades. We banish the king to the kingdom of sin. Candles fade in crimson rain, whispers drift through window panes, old memories beneath the snow call from centuries below. A portrait burns inside the flame, two souls forever bound by pain. Across the years the shadows wait for love to challenge death and fate. Writes by fading light, in careful words through endless nights of foreign lands and haunted halls, and whispers breathing through the walls. Yet far away in London rain, Mina hears his distant pain, while restless dreams invade her sleep, and voices rise from shadows deep. A stranger walks the crowded streets with ancient sorrow in his eyes, and when he speaks her hidden name, the world beneath her fractures wide. For in her face he sees again a loved once buried among the dead. Elisabeta calls through time from crimson rivers long since bled. Centuries alone, a king without a heart or throne. Through endless nights I search the stars to heal the wound behind these scars.
Why do your eyes awaken me like echoes from eternity? I fear the darkness in your soul, yet something ancient makes me
the shadows we collide, bound by blood and endless time. Through death and sorrow, love survives. Beyond the grave, our hearts arise. You are the dream I could not save.
You are the ghost inside my veins.
Heaven weeps and angels cry, as cursed love refuses to die. Enters softly through her dreams, like moonlight flowing through the seams. A voice that pulls her soul apart and leaves its mark upon her heart. Beneath the dark cathedral sky, he shows the tears he could not hide. No monster now before her stands, but shattered grief with blood-stained hands. Jonathan fades like distant rain, while Mina feels the ancient chain. The taste of blood, the burning kiss, a fatal longing she cannot resist. And in the silence of the night, she sees a former life ignite. A princess falling into death, calling his name with final breath. I gave my soul to endless pain when God allowed your death to reign. Now fate has brought your heart to mine, through curse rebirth across all time.
Your darkness terrifies my soul, yet your sorrow makes me whole. Between the sacred and profane,
I feel your heartbeat in my veins. Across your arms.
All I feared
Was loving what could only harm. If death must claim me,
let it be your hand.
if love can save you,
I will understand.
in another life,
Beneath the kinder sky,
we might have lived, we might have survived. The night grows cold, the end draws near. Still your voice is all I hear.
forgive the blood, forgive the pain. Let your soul be free again.
Across the shadows we collide,
Bound by blood and endless time.
though death may tear our worlds apart. Your name forever haunts my heart. At last the endless night shall fade.
At last your soul can be unchained.
Love and sorrow intertwined, two immortal hearts denied.
Across eternity we cry.
A final kiss beneath the sky. Cold moon rising over graves, whispers drifting through the haze. Candles tremble, violins cry beneath the blood-red winter sky. From distant towers shrouded black, an ancient shadow journeys back. A love once buried calls his name. Through ash, through sorrow, through the flame. Jonathan crossed the eastern stone, far from the streets and world he'd known. A careful man of ink and law, unready for the dread he saw. Within the castle cold as death, the warlord spoke with poison breath of kingdoms drowned in crimson rain and holy wars that birthed his pain. Once he rode beneath God's light, a dragon lord in endless fight, till Elisabeta's final breath turned grief into immortal death. Now centuries of endless night have forged his soul and cursed his spite. Yet in Mina's face he sees once more the love he buried in the war. Across the shadows we are bound. Through blood and sorrow love is found. The cursed heart still beats her name inside the everlasting flame. Mina cries into the storm.
I will not let the dark transform.
The soul inside my fractured mind.
I'll turn your curse against your kind.
Right through the night, into the flame.
Love and damnation call her name.
The Count forced blood upon her lips, a scarlet bond she can't resist. The mark unclean upon her brow, a whispered curse that binds her now. Yet Mina stands with iron will, while colder shadows gather still. Van Helsing calls her into trance to walk within the vampire's glass. She hears the ocean through his veins, the wolves that howl
endless peace.
Across the shadows we are bound. Through blood and sorrow love is found. The cursed heart still beats her name inside the everlasting flame. Mina walks the edge of fate between redemption, love and hate. She turns the darkness into sight and leads the hunters through the night, right through the storm, into the pain. Love and damnation rise again. I search through centuries alone, a king without a soul or throne. I feel your sorrow in my veins,
A tide of love,
a sea of chains. If death will free your heart from mine,
then let our souls dissolve in time.
beyond the grave,
Beyond the skies,
love never truly dies. Across the shadows we are bound.
the shadows we are bound.
Through blood and sorrow love is found.
Through blood and sorrow love is found.
The final night begins to fall. The ancient king must lose it all. Mina stands against the flames, still calling softly to his name. Through tears and blood she takes his hand and guides his soul from curse and lies, right through the dark
Into the light,
love ends the everlasting night.
the wind carries the final cry as the strings slowly dissolve into silence.
Shadows crawl through candlelight, steel gray skies consume the night. Ink and parchment stain my hands, bound for dark, forgotten lands. Whispers drift through mountain snow, warnings only peasants know. Far beyond the rails and stone, something waits upon the throne. London breathed in ordered lines, clockwork streets and strict designs. I wrote my future stroke by stroke, through legal seals and careful notes. Mina's face within my mind, a better life I meant to find. Promotion, wealth, a noble name, a simple path through honest gain. The golden crown stood warm and bright, a fleeting refuge from the night. Old wooden halls and firelight glow, far from the mountain winds that blow. But when I spoke the count's own name, the room grew cold, the silence changed. The innkeeper's wife began to shake, as though the dead themselves had waked. Crosses raised with trembling hands, fear I could not understand. Every eye avoided mine, as though I'd crossed some cursed line. Ride into the heart of the storm, where the The mountains rose like jagged teeth, black forest breathing underneath. Villagers beside the road crossed themselves and bowed their heads low. Blue flames danced across the snow, marking graves long dead below. The horses screamed at phantom sounds as twilight sealed the mountain crown. The carriage wound through endless stone, yet every road returned alone. The driver spoke no single word, still every wolf obeyed his world. Then through the mist the black coach came, iron wheels and ghostly flame. A towering figure draped in black, eyes like knives beneath his head. Hear the wolves begin to rise, silver hunger in their eyes. Reason bends and shadows grow into realms no man should know. Ride into the heart of the storm, where the ancient blood is born. Through the fire and frozen rain, toward the castle of the damned Dracula, Lord of War, Dragon King forevermore. Through the shadows hear them cry, the wolves beneath the Carpathian sky. He spoke of kingdoms drenched in blood, of Turkish armies turned to mud, of banners flying over graves and fearless men no tyrant swayed. Dracula, a warrior's crown, a name no enemy cast down. Not devil born, but forged in war, a prince whose wrath still scars the world. And as the moon consumed the past, I saw no future, only black. The farther from the world I came, the less I knew my very name. Blue fire burns beneath the snow, ancient eyes begin to glow. Now the mountain shadows breathe and logic dies among the trees. Ride into the heart of the storm, where the ancient blood is born. Through the fire and frozen rain, toward the castle of the damned Dracula, Lord of War, Dragon King forevermore. Through the shadows hear them cry, the wolves beneath the Carpathian sky. Ride into eternity, past the edge of sanity. In the dark the old world wakes, and every sacred order breaks. Through the past the night unfolds, ancient hunger, dark and old. And the wolves sing to the sky.
We pursued him across the frozen lands of Europe, a race against the dying sun. The Count's gypsies fought like wolves to protect his coffin, but we could not fail. For Mina, there was no turning back.
across the seas of endless night.
A hunter now within the dream, guiding us by psychic stream. But valor always bears its cost, and Quincy gave what cannot be lost.
Smile as winter claimed his face.
Our warriors in the final grace.
He saw the dawn he'd never grieve.
Yet victory was bittersweet.
For in his fall, the path was clear.
The darkness died when he was near.
Strike as one before the sun is gone. End the curse that lingers on and on. Break the coffin, break the ancient chain.
Let the tyrant fall in dust again.
Steel and fire through the crimson veil.
Let no shadow, no evil prevail.
The Count is slain beneath the light.
And silence falls upon the night.
Years have passed beneath a kinder sky, where broken hearts no longer cry.
A child is born where Quincy F.
The daylight fades. Stone, the hunted king rides not alone. Steel string echoes pierce the night, as shadows flee the dying light. Hooves like thunder shake the pass. Time is fading fast at last. Beyond the peaks the darkness waits to seal the hunter's final fate. With weathered hands, Jonathan rides through blood and frost to save the soul Mina has lost. Doctor Seaward loads silver rounds while Arthur scans the darkened grounds. Quincy rides with knife in hand, a dying sun across the land. The Count retreats through wolf and flame toward the castle bearing name, protected by the gypsy line who guard the coffin through the pine. Mina trembles far away, hearing Dracula's thoughts The wagons burst through mountain snow as twilight paints the world below. The gypsies scream and raise their steel, defending ancient blood with zeal. The horses crash through shattered stone, steel meets bone with violent groan. Quincy falls beneath the knife, still fighting for their fragile lives. Jonathan reaches through the storm toward the box of cursed reborn. The lid explodes in splintered black as shadows claw the daylight back. Inside the coffin, pale as death, the Count awakens without breath. His burning eyes begin to rise as sunset bleeds across the skies. Ride through the blood-red sunset sky before the light and hope both die. Through Borgo Pass the hunters ride to strike the Lord of endless night. Run through the fire, race through the grave before the darkness can be saved. The coffin waits, the daylight fades, and death itself now rides the blades. Mina whispers through the wind. I feel his soul beneath my skin. Van Helsing bows his weary head for love and mercy and the dead. The final rays begin to fade. Long shadows crawl across the glade. One final breath, one final cry, before immortal kings can rise. Ride through the blood-red sunset sky before the light and hope both die. Jonathan and Quincy strike against the Lord of endless night. Steal through the darkness, blood on the snow. The ancient king is overthrown. Ash to the heavens, dust to the wind. The reign of Dracula now ends. The mountains fall to silent gray as darkness slowly fades away. One final wind through castle stone, and the dead king dies alone.